Hi, my name is Michael Schlabach. I am a professional bowler. I've been a professional bowler now for 10 years. I have been bowling mostly in the PBA Central Regional Tour and part-time on the National Tour. I've had a couple good finishes, top 16 in the World Championship, along with a top 3 finish in the Cheetah Championship. I have 5 PBA regional titles, along with 8 PBA 300 games. I'm also pretty active on social media. At Instagram, it's Mikey_119. On YouTube, it's Straight Off the Hook, and that is where I do most of my content creation and I guess you can say some informative stuff. My journey in bowling started back when I was 10 years old, so I've been bowling now for 18 years. And I actually got involved in bowling because one of my old friends took me to this thing we had that was called Take Your Friend to League Day. It was basically just an open invite for kids who are already bowling in league to bring a friend to see if they would be interested in joining along and being a part of a youth league. I went in, I bowled, I had an absolute blast, and immediately I knew I wanted to start bowling in leagues because, well, at the time I was a baseball player. Baseball was in the summer. I couldn't play it in the winter because in northern Indiana it snows too much. And so I needed something to do in the winter. So I picked up bowling as a hobby to do in the winter, and I fell in love with it. What I love so much about bowling is that it's a sport that isn't necessarily me versus the person next to me. It's actually me versus the lane. It's a battle against a invisible playing field with the oil they put on the lane and also the type of surface the lane condition is, and you're battling these different variables of the people you're following as you move from pair to pair to pair in a tournament, and you're trying to battle this condition that you can't necessarily see, and you have to make the best estimated guess on it. And usually the guys who can make the best guess and then repeat the most shots are the guys who win. So it's not necessarily the guy who's the biggest or the strongest. So it allows the tactician side of everybody to come out, and the ability to use your brain to think through situations and to kind of problem solve and critically think. I love bowling for that, and how that provides an opportunity for people to not just win due to brute force or strength, but to win because they can outsmart their opponent or just be better in tune of what the conditions are requesting from us as bowlers. And I think that leads to a lot of people having the opportunity to be successful at bowling because you don't necessarily have to be the biggest or the strongest. You just have to be the best at getting the ball to knock down 10 pins. I chose to do bowling as a profession because as a kid, I always knew I was going to be a professional athlete. I always thought I was going to be pitching for the Chicago Cubs, throwing 95 and striking out hitters. Turned out I wasn't 6'4" throwing 95, and so bowling was the next best route. And so for me, pursuing a professional career in any athletic was really my dream, and bowling just happened to be the sport that fell into my lap. And so I then proceeded to take all of the drive and passion I had towards baseball and making that my dream, and I poured it into my bowling and ended up making it something that is now a dream come true. I get to be a professional athlete and a professional bowler. When I'm out on the PBA tour, I see it as this opportunity to grow and to learn, and for me, competing is a lot of fun. However, bowling as a professional is a full-time job. It is full commitment, not just at the tournaments, but it's also commitment in your practice and in your lifting routines and your workouts, your preparation, taking care of equipment, learning how to prepare equipment, and also learning to how to structure your weeks to make sure that you're mentally as sharp as you need to be going into a tournament weekend. So I have a lot of fun competing. That is a natural desire of mine, is to compete in really anything I do. Bowling just happens to be something that I'm really good at, so the idea of competing at a high level to me is a lot of fun, but it is 100% a full-time job. While I am in and around it, is something that I pour my heart and soul into as if it is a full-time job, and it's something I love to do for sure. I think bowling is one of those things that is so easily accessible that it's just something that everybody should try. You don't have to be, like I said, you don't have to be 6'4" throwing 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. You don't have to be, a 6'8" giant who can knock down 40-foot three-pointers, and you don't have to be a 280-pound linebacker. You can just be an average guy, and with the right amount of work and time and effort put into it, you can be a very, very good bowler because, again, you're not playing against another person. You're playing against the lane, and you're trying to battle the conditions. So bowling should be something that is widely requested for everybody just because of how socially inviting it is. You get to meet new people, you get to go to new places, you get to experience a lot of things in bowling that you just don't get to experience in other sports. Team sports, you're kind of stuck in with a tribe of people. It's really, this is your team, this is who you work with. In bowling, you see a lot of the same people, but as you travel and get to branch out, you get to meet a lot of new people and people you would probably never meet before in your life. And so for the social ability and the social reach of bowling, it is definitely something I think everybody should look at least to try, and who knows, maybe you fall in love with it. Out of the many, many benefits of youth bowling, one of my favorite things about youth bowling and why I think a lot of the younger kids should try to get into it is the idea of competition that's not necessarily cutthroat, such as like travel ball or any form of like high competitive youth football. Bowling is one of those where it's just Saturday morning league. You get to come in. You don't have to have the nicest gear. You don't have to have the fanciest jerseys. You just show up in your t-shirt and your shorts, and you put your hand in a bowling ball and you throw it, and you get to go out and learn to compete, which teaches kids a little bit of discipline on how to practice and prepare, and it gives them a little bit of, I guess, something to work for and something to learn early in how to develop skills and become better at a certain task. And bowling is one of those things where it's great because it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to get involved. You just go get, you can get a used bowling ball, from the pro shop, get it plugged and re-drilled for a really good price, and you can go out and start competing. It doesn't take much. And the ability to go out and practice, bowling alleys are all over the place, and so the ability for kids to learn and grow and to become better bowlers is so easy. It's just one of those sports where I feel like because of how accessible it is to everybody, there should be no reason why kids shouldn't at least give it a shot and see what they think. And youth bowling is a great start for kids who maybe not have a calling in other sports, because if you fall in love with bowling, the scholarship opportunities that come about from it, from like Junior Gold and Junior Team USA, and now we have Junior PBA, the Junior PBA Association, allowing these kids to set up a future for themselves, not only when it comes to maybe a future in the PBA, but also a future in a college somewhere where they can have tuition that's much, much cheaper. They get the opportunity to get scholarships, and youth bowling is just really growing in that manner. And I think that any kid that doesn't really have a sports calling should definitely give bowling a shot and see what they think of it.